Kia ora. Okay, so you've watched my videos, you now know you're an empath, and the question is, what do you do now? So, if you're not an empath, the next couple of videos I'm going to make really aren't going to help you in any kind of way, so I wouldn't even bother. But I'm specifically targeting empaths because statistically they're the ones that have a higher likelihood of suffering from depression and who have suicidal tendencies. So this little video is basically, I'm an empath now. I know I'm an empath. What do I do next? And it is really very simple. As I have explained in all of my videos before, nobody understands an empath better than an empath, and that's why if you're an empath, you surround yourself with other empaths. So every artist will have a writer friend or a musician friend, and every empath who writes songs and is in a band is going to have an artist friend or a writer friend. We all have singer friends who have artist friends who do the covers for our albums and our books and stuff like that. My ex-husband does all my graphics and illustrations and stuff like that. So basically, it's this simple. The key to being a happy empath and to defeating the depression and dealing with a society that completely never will understand what it is that you are is to it's a couple of things. First of all, you have to do what you love and love what you do. That is so important. Every empath has their medium. For me, my medium is writing. When I write, it brings everything into balance again. It helps me get everything out. Your medium is what releases your poison, your stress, your anxiety, your fears, your worries, whatever it is that's on your mind, what you're coping with, what you're dealing with. If you're a musician, you write songs that talk about how you're feeling. If you're an artist, you will paint, what you're feeling and seeing and, stuff like that. It's all, each empath has a varying vibration. I'm sorry I keep touching my face. It's just I accidentally had I had something in it, something on Thursday that had a bit of gluten in it, and my face is still a bit itchy. So I'm touching my face a lot because it's burning a little. But yeah. So your medium is, or your inner pendulum is what we have to help us focus and center ourselves. So if you're a writer or an artist or a designer or a cook or whatever your medium is that you are drawn to, that you're able to go inside yourself and express yourself and use your creative outlet to make you feel better and cope with your stress or your day or whatever, that's what you've got to do. Do what you love and love what you do. Now, I completely understand that we're not all going to be able to, especially when you're in the Pathwalker and White Lighter stage, we're not all going to be able to just give up our jobs to focus on, doing what we love. We're not always going to be able to make money from it straight away, but that's kind of not the point. Our gifts aren't, or our inner pendulum, our inner creative, it's not necessarily there to make money, and you have to understand that, my empath scale, not everybody who's a pathwalker is going to end up a light walker, okay? We all start as normie norms. We all start as normal, everyday, feeling sympathetic people. It's for those who feel driven to find out more of what they are and bring that out that go up the scale. 20 odd years ago, I was a kind of mid between normie norm and pathwalker, and then when I met my teacher, that's when I started going up to white lighter and empathic pathwalker and blah blah blah. But not everybody who is a pathwalker is going to end up a light walker or even an empathic pathwalker. Most empaths are happy to get to the white lighter stage because that's when they're using their gifts and talents to make money from it. That's when they start stepping away from the norm, hence the term normie norm, when they step away from the norm and start venturing out into new territories with their gifts and their medium, so to speak. So sometimes we have to do jobs we don't like to support doing what we do, and that's completely fine. Sometimes we have to take jobs that are a means to an end. they're there to help us fund doing what we love. And if you've got to work a job you don't like so that you can do what you love at night and on the weekend, and that, trust me, it's all worth it. But if the drive and determination is in you to be something more, then eventually when you get out of that white lighter stage, you will step out of the want or the need to have to do something you don't like in order to do what you do, which is the empathic pathwalker stage. That's when you step outside the like, oh fuck this, I can't do this anymore, like I hate my job, I've got to give this a go. That's when you step away from the fear, because like when you're a white lighter you will still always follow rules and set patterns of okay, so they want me to put my art in this gallery, or they want me to set up a website for this and blah blah blah, and you try and do everything while it's like you're still outside the box, but you've got one hand on it sort of thing. But your heart doesn't want, your heart is not in it. Like, it, how can I explain it? It's like when I started doing readings when I was a white lighter, okay, I was a beauty therapist. I was doing massage therapy and stuff like that for rugby players and cyclists and all that sort of thing. And I started, I found that when I was doing massages on some of my clients and that I was seeing things, I've been seeing stuff my whole life, but I was doing psychometric readings where I'd put my hands on them and I would start seeing things. So I would start telling them the things that I was seeing. And then I found that they were loving the reading so much, people were coming back wanting readings instead of having their massages and their eyelashes tinted and stuff like that, because I worked from home. So I stepped away from doing the beauty therapy side of it and started doing the readings, but I was trying to do readings the way everybody else was doing them. And while it gave me the most incredible experience and opened up my entire world, I've worked with people from all over the world, from all different walks of life, like some celebrities and I've worked in radio, and it's been an incredible experience. It's never completely satisfied me because I always felt like there was more in me than just being your Teresa Caputos and your Sally Morgans and all that sort of stuff. For me, it's a way of life. It's not just a job. It's not something I do. It's something I am. And with an empath, it's what you are. It's not something you do. It's what you are. You can't. It's like, sometimes, see, like with these videos and stuff like that, they're always spontaneous. I don't plan doing them. I have to wait till it feels right to do it, because you put so much of yourself into your medium, and I'm only too aware of the fact that everything I say that comes out of my mouth is going to have an impact on those who listen to it, because I appeal to a certain type of person. I appeal to a certain type of person who needs more than just what is on offer out there in the worlds of, the psychic sciences and stuff like that. And for me, it wasn't enough to just be able to say to someone, I see a dead person and I see this in your future. I needed to know why, how, wherefore, blah blah blah, because people come at me with questions that a conventional psychical medium couldn't answer. And I don't call myself a medium. I will not allow myself to be called a medium or a psychic, because to me, psychic is the science, not the ability. The ability is intuitive, clairvoyance, empathy, natural telepathy, but psychometric, psychometry, it's an umbrella term. A medium, to me, is somebody who works as a go-between, the living and the dead. So there's the living, there's the dead, and the medium bounces messages back and forth. Okay, they are the go-between, but a median bridges the gap. So I started wanting to step outside the norm and find my own flow, because what I was doing and how I was doing it wasn't enough for me. I wasn't happy with what I was giving people. I needed to be able to give them more. And when I stepped outside of that box, it completely just tore everything down. Like, I've had to start again. I've had to start from scratch, and I completely had to, you know, lose the way I was doing business and the way I was teaching and doing all that sort of stuff in order to be able to have the time to focus on what was important to me, which was getting a clear and concise understanding of what it is I am, because I know that there's hundreds of thousands of other people out there just like me who don't know they're just like me, who need someone like me to give them that help and guidance. So I'm not for everyone. Not everybody in this world is going to accept, appreciate, or understand what it is I'm trying to say, other than an empath. And it's because I started working with so many people dealing with depression and anxiety and PTSD. I've worked with a lot of veterans, like in North Carolina and like stationed overseas and stuff like that, that I started to realize that the value for me is in wanting to help people want to live, rather than helping people see death from their dead loved one's perspective, or from you know, the dead's perspective. For me, it became about life. I've been having these connections with these children and these videos, you know, I've been talking about, if you've watched any of my videos, since I was a teenager. And it was them that said to me, you got to stop. You know, there's nothing you can do for us anymore. Oh God, that looks shit. There's nothing you can do for us anymore. We're dead. You know, you've done everything you have to do. Now you got to help the living, and everything changed, and I had to say fuck it. Like I know I'm gonna lose everything. I know I'm gonna lose friends and work and respect and, you know, blah blah blah. But I had to trust what I was feeling to do, and that was, I had to work on myself so that I could understand myself, because by understanding me I could help people understand themselves, because empaths are a very, very rare breed of person. Okay, and it's they're the ones that are killing themselves. They're the ones that are walking away from these great gifts as writers and artists and musicians and creators and thinkers and that, and we've been left with plastic fantastics, you know, your fake inspirers and your fake creatives. There's so many celebrities out there, there's millions of them, you know, they're like cockroaches. They do not deserve to be there, to be honest. They don't have, they feed off other people's talent, they sing other people's songs, they dance other people's dances. They're taking from people and thinking it's okay to just, you know, pretend to be something that they're not and don't deserve, when you have your Kurt Cobains of the world blowing their brains out because they don't fit in with what the music industry or the movie industry or whatever is telling them to be. Now, I've been thinking about this over the last couple of days as well, and there's a lot of drag queens, you know, like the transgender community has quite a lot of undiagnosed empaths, basically. There is one very famous drag queen who I would in a heartbeat take at my school. When I saw her on RuPaul's Drag Race Untucked, it absolutely broke my heart, the way that she's been broken by this industry, where she's trying desperately to stand out in an industry where she's, you know, being forced to fit in. And her name's Adore Delano, and without question I would have her at my school. She is a classic example of what an empath is. If you watch RuPaul Drag Race's was it called All Stars 2, and when she decides to leave in that, because she, you know, she decides to stay true to herself and stay true to her word, because she knows that her influence and her individuality is actually helping other people cope with their own depression and feeling like misfits and blah blah blah. She's a classic example of what an empath is. And I would, oh my God, if I could meet her, I would so have her at my school as a student or as a teacher, because I think she would have a lot to offer a lot of the children who came to my school who were having those kind of identity issues and stuff. But we're on every planet, well, we are on every planet, but you know, we're on every country on the planet, and yet we're given all this medication, and we're ostracized, and we're treated like crap for being different, because we stand up for, we believe in our art, we believe in what we write, we believe in what we paint and stuff like that, but because society is telling us they don't understand us, they don't get us, it's wrong, it's weird, it's creepy, it's, it's aggressive, it's blah 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 blah, that's when it's like, you have those balls thrown at your head. Remember I said about walking on a tightrope with balls thrown at your head, and then at some point, there's a lot of people who are happy at the white lighter stage, having their job and having their medium, and you can quite happily blend the two together if your job isn't stressful, but for most empaths, working a job, in an office or in a school or whatever it is you're doing, it's not enough. It's soul destroying. It's like your soul's being sucked out of you if you don't just give it a go. So you've got to do what you love and love what you do. If you can be brave enough to just step away from all of that and just concentrate, on doing what it is that you love and loving what you do, then the rest falls into place. So do what you love what you do, and the rest will fall into place, I promise you, because what happens is your medium feeds it's like the fuel to your soul. It feeds you everything it needs to survive in order to be positive and uplifting. And even if you are drawing dark stuff and your music is dark, or you're presenting yourself in a dark way, only you need to understand it's the poison coming out of you. It's the freedom of self-expression. You should be allowed to have the freedom to express yourself. And if that is by how you're dressing, or the music you're listening to, or what you're drawing, or what you're writing, none of that matters. It's the fact that it's coming out. Now, the trouble with normal society is that they take the medication and they squeeze themselves into these boxes and categories and labels that society and psychiatry and psychology and the government and that like to force everybody in. They need everybody compartmentalized and labeled and stuff like that. And for an empath, it's suffocating. It's literally suffocating. You have to be this political party, you have to be this gender or this sex or this blah blah blah, and it's bullshit. Like this gender fluid shit, like these categories. If you're trying to force yourself into a category, then you've been brainwashed. Empaths don't fall into a category. Yes, I'm calling us empaths, but that's the technical term for it. And yes, technically, you're a Republican or a Democrat, or you're gay or you're straight, or you're this or you're that, but you're not defined by the label that anyone gives you. And an empath doesn't have a label, so to speak. I mean, yes, empath, but we don't, it's the same. Humans shouldn't have labels then by that reckoning, but you know what I mean. Like, we don't fit into a category. We don't care about politics, we don't care about fashion, we don't care about being famous, we don't care about fame, we don't care about famous people, we don't care about political ideals. We don't, we like to find our own path. We like to find what feels right to us. We're not Hansel and Gretel. We don't follow breadcrumbs. We don't, we leave breadcrumbs. We don't follow them. But if you can look past the fact you do a job you don't like in order to pay for the things that you do like, then when you do those things, it makes it all worthwhile. So you need to be brave, and if you can be brave and step outside the box and say, fuck it, I've got to give this a go, like I did when I became an empathic path walker. The road can be hard, and yes, you are probably going to live in poverty. Most artists and musicians and writers in that will live in poverty. Like I have had to have Spirit have completely stripped everything out of my life. I have gotten rid of probably 98% of all the people in my life. I've lost almost 100% of my income to do what I love, which is helping people and understanding my mind and understanding my gift and understanding it in a way that I can be happy enough to present to people just like me, who are going to understand what it is that I am, because they are it too. So, you suffer, you make the sacrifices, you suffer for your art, and empath suffers for their art. It goes par and parcel, but there's lessons in it all. And I promise you, you know, if you're a fan or a follower of my blog, or you've watched my videos and that, and you know my life, you know the shit I've gone through. It's not been an easy road for me, because basically I did myself out of a job. I did myself out of a career. I was 20 years I was doing readings, and now all I want to do is educate people. All I want to do is sit down in front of people like me, who are afraid of death, and who are grieving, and who are stressed out, and who are depressed, and who are empaths, and who are feeling like they're in a round room and they can't get out. I want to show them the door. I want to show them how to get out of that room by opening a window for them. And I had to lose everything in order to do it. But I promise you guys, see, when you get to that point where it's like I'm at the Lightwalker phase now, and it's called Lightwalker because everything I do it's filled with light. Like, the way that I love people is so much better, you know. The way that I love myself, I actually like myself as a person now, and I never did before, because I was constantly feeling the need to have to explain myself to people. Now I don't explain myself to anyone, you know. You toughen up. The knocks and the beatings that you take, it's like, you know, a broken bone is stronger in the part where it broke. The strongest part of the bone is in the break, you know. And empaths are broken and broken and broken and broken and broken and broken through every stage of their life. But when you get to the Lightwalker stage, you're so strong. I cannot begin to tell you how happy I am. Like, I get emotional when I think about this journey that I've been on, because I get to look at people that I love now and be blinded by the light of how much I love them. I get to look at the connection I have with my dead and with spirit, and I'm just so humbled in their presence. Like, children just light my life, and I'm so, I can't even put it into words. I'm a writer and I can't even put it into words. How I don't feel. I'll put it this way, okay? You all know my situation. I have nothing. I have no money. I'm living day to day. I live on handouts from people, pretty much. And I feel so rich. I feel so rich and so blessed, because the handful of people that I have in my life, they're so uplifting, and they get me, you know. Finally, I've gotten myself. I removed everyone and everything from my life that was negative, that was holding me back, that was juxtaposed, that was, you know, butting and pulling me down. And that's what you have to do as an empath. You have to get rid of the people and things that are no longer serving you, because they drain you, you know. And you're not here to live for anyone else but yourself. You are here for you. If you get this life wrong, it's you that has to come back and do it again, not the people that are, you know, are negative to you, you know. They have to be removed, and we all know the people and the situations and the thought patterns and the diets and the habits and that we need to drop in order to be happier people. But we often feel the need to keep them around because, oh, I don't want to be mean, and, you know, that sort of thing. But if you're around anyone or anything that is making you unhappy, then they are not people that you should be around. And what happened was, when I let go of all of that, when I let go of the need to want to not upset people, and, you know, like, sacrifice my beliefs and the things that were making me want to be a better person around people who were just taking and pulling and taking and pulling and taking and pulling away from me, you know, it was affecting my health, it was affecting my sleep, it was affecting my diet, it was affecting my sleep patterns, it was affecting my my mental health and well-being, and it was affecting my healthy relationships as well. Because what happens is, you get to the point where you can't trust anyone, and you don't want to trust anyone, so you don't trust anyone, including the people that you should be able to trust the most, which are the ones who are still there for you after all the battles have been fought. And then what happens is, you start to see your value in yourself. And I saw my value in those around me who had stayed behind, because the ones who had stayed behind were the ones that knew that I was something better than I was allowing myself to be. And now that I see my value and what I am and what I can do for people and how I'm helping children and how I'm determined to help children and how I'm helping other empaths and people who don't understand the paranormal, who are coming to me and going, oh my God, like, you know, I thought I was haunted and that, you know, this and that and blah, 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 or I was grieving and now, you know, I understand where my son is and it makes me feel better and blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm all about. That is my calling. I want to educate people. But I had to educate myself first. In order for me to be able to deal with the world, I had to deal with my own little world first. I had to dump some bricks out of my backpack that weren't my own, and then when I was left with my own bricks to carry, I had to decide which bricks were worthy of carrying and which bricks had to be let go of. And the bricks that I have left are like the love of my children, the love of my husband, my best friend, my friends. You know, the burdens that I have now are getting to America and building this school. That's my bricks pretty much. The things that I'm choosing to carry forward with me. And I promise you, when you do that, it changes everything. I said to one of my students the other day, I feel like I've crawled through life as my little fat caterpillar, and I got myself into my cocoon, and I'm at that stage now where I've climbed out of it and I've stretched my wings and my wings are starting to dry, and I've looked back and realized the journey that caterpillar has taken in order to be the butterfly that I am now. And I don't even feel like the same person anymore. I'm not the same person I was last week, last month, last year, you know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I'm not that person anymore. I'm a butterfly, you know. I'm a fucked up butterfly with, you know, bent wings and maybe an extra antenna and stuff like that, but I'm still a butterfly. I'm not a caterpillar anymore, and I'm certainly not in the cocoon. When you come out the other end, I can understand why Christians say they're born again, because I feel born again. I'm blinded by love, you know, the love of what I do, the love of who I do it for, the love of my little channel, the love of my children. Oh my God, my children they are absolutely my creators. They created me in every kind of way. If you're a parent, your children are your creators. You would not be what you are without your children, and that's why they need to be worshipped and adored, you know. And unfortunately, society is not doing that, and I'll go to my grave protecting children. My husband is the best thing that ever happened to me. He made me want to be a better person. My best friend is stalwart in every kind of way. She is she's an ally. You know, she is a sword and shield kind of best friend who would kick ass of anyone who, you know, who tried to stand in front of me. And you know, my students and stuff, they're loyal. You end up getting to a point where after all the years of shit and trials and tribulations, and that when you get that backbone and you stand up for yourself and you say, you know what, I'm tired of living like this. From now on, I'm going to live for me, and doing what makes me happy, because what makes me happy is helping other people through my gift and my medium of what it is that I do. It's like everything falls into place when you do what you love and you love what you do. Everything else takes care of itself. And I promise you, 100%, if you stick this out and you don't worry about what other people say, and you find the time to do your writing or your creating or your cooking or your sewing or whatever it is that you love to do, when you just pour all your time and care and attention into that, whatever else is happening around you, just, it doesn't matter, because your gift becomes your savior. It's your safe space. You know, you get to withdraw into yourself and it becomes your safe space. So then the other thing I recommend, other than doing what you love and loving what you do, is open yourself up, open your pineal gland up, and allow yourself to have that communication with your higher self and with spirit and the universe. And the next video that I'm going to do is going to show you how to do just that. It's only ever going to work with empaths, and I'll explain in the next video why. This is something I have been doing since I was 16 years old, so 30 years I've been doing this. And I'll explain in the next video, but once you open up your pineal gland, it absolutely transforms the way you see yourself and the spiritual world and, you know, the universe as a whole. And it doesn't matter where you go or what you do, as long as you have that that drive inside you to want to just keep creating and keep being what it is you are. I promise you, nothing and no one will be able to stop you. You'll be able to take what you do anywhere in the world and make money from it. To survive from it, you might not necessarily be rich and stuff like that, but I promise you, you will be happy. I promise you, you will be happy. I swear to God, guys, I promise you, you'll be happy. And it's not just me, because I have cured people of manic depression. I have cured people with bipolar disorder, with, you know, clinical depression, ADHD, PTSD. Like it's not. I've taken my experiences and put them into my clients and my friends and my students and stuff like that, and I formulated an entire, basically, career around it. I just don't make any money from it because there's no money in science, and because I'm a freak, you know, I scare people. They get offended by everything I say, but I don't care, because I'm not here for them. I'm here for the people that get me, and the ones that get me are empaths, because it's like I say, nobody gets an empath better than an empath. So watch the next video, and I'm going to show you how to open up your pineal gland, and then we'll get this party started so that you can introduce yourself to yourself. I love you.